and that's where it's sort of nice to take us on to team selection, James, because the manager has managed the squad well over the course of the season, and I'm looking at this one and being like, there's definitely a couple of changes he can make. I take his point about it being a cup final again, not trying to be reductive to Southampton, but Liverpool versus Southampton at home, it's about as easy a game as Liverpool could have got at this stage of the season. When we've seen how good PSG were on Wednesday, I'm expecting a big response from them at Anfield again on Tuesday. I would be, making a good few changes, and there's a couple which are almost trickier than others. Like I think Tsimikas comes in for Robertson, and I think that's almost a no-brainer. Tsimikas has been fine this season, and again, I wouldn't expect him to be having a torrid time against Southampton at home. Although maybe I'm sort of cursing my luck a little bit there. In the front line, I think Darwin can come in because he sort of makes his meaningful contribution against PSG. Generally, I was a bit done with him after the Villa game, and when the manager came out and made his comments as well. But I think we have seen a bit of a reaction from him since the manager came out and made his comments. And then you could maybe even argue in that midfield for a place for someone like Harvey Elliott after the PSG game. I'd probably more so be leaning towards Jones and maybe Szoboszlai dropping out because he's run himself into the ground recently. And then Trent is maybe the last one I'm looking at, and I'd probably leave everything else as is. And the Trent one is tough because it's Jarell Quansah coming in.
Yeah, the Trent one's interesting, and also given the way that Southampton's set up as well. Yeah. They like to pack the midfield. They like to push fullbacks wide, which leaves them quite exposed, which is half the reason why they've only got 9 points. Yeah. So it is almost a game that would be ideal for someone like Trent Alexander-Arnold. I agree with you on the changes there as well. And Slot says, with regards to personnel changes, he says it's not about looking forward and thinking we've got PSG next week. He's only dealing with Southampton. That's the only thing in his mind. And I think some of that might be a little bit of kind of managerial hyperbole. Yeah. You know what I mean? Kind of has to say that. Yeah. Has to pay respects to Southampton, despite the fact that they are a bit of a mess. Certainly at the back, they've got no leadership. They've got no control of games. So there will be opportunities there. And it's for me, it's a really good one to rotate. It couldn't come at a better time, actually, playing Southampton. If you can't rotate players against the worst performing team in the league, in between playing a real side like PSG, over two legs, then when can you rotate? You've got to rest players. I think the Szoboszlai one, for example, I mean, the man can't run anymore. He needs a lie down. Give him a little rest. Defensively, I'm not overly concerned about the threat that Southampton pose.
Especially if you're leaving Konate and Van Dijk in there, you've still got your foundation.
Absolutely, yeah. And even if you do keep Trent on the field, and then maybe you do rotate Konate, you could there's an argument there. You could bring Quansah in. I'm quite happy with that. I think Curtis Jones has done everything that he can to warrant a place in the starting 11. I don't think he can offer any more in the last two appearances that he's made. He's been fantastic when he's come on. He really has done all the dirty work that you need someone like that to do when everyone else is a little bit tired. You bring someone on like that who can just offer you so much on the ball and off the ball as well, actually, which is another thing that Slot references, is that we need to start working harder off the ball. Players like Curtis Jones coming in with that energy in those legs, that's exactly what he offers. Harvey Elliott's the one, you might feel a little bit sorry for Harvey Elliott because, he comes on and makes a real difference, I thought, in the week. But whether there's a place in the starting 11 or not, I'm not so sure. Darwin Núñez for me, throw him on. I mean, what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah. Absolutely. So I think we're probably banking on maybe 4 changes there, Mike. Are you going with a similar number?
Yeah, I can't see there being more than 4. The only time there's ever been really more than 4 is when we've had a Carabao Cup game where he's done like 6, maybe 7 or 8 plus. Earlier rounds, I don't think he's always maxed on 2 or 3, 4. So I think it would be 4 if Bradley was fit. If Bradley was fit, I'd probably say, it would have been easier to take Trent off. And
that's the one I could definitely go either way.
Yeah. I mean, I'm almost certain if Bradley was fully fit and firing, he would absolutely be getting a rest in today into Trent on the weekend. He's done it, hasn't he? Where we've done the fullbacks quite often. As I said before, like he subbed them early in the season. He's looked after legs, and it's paying fruition now for Robertson, I think. He's battled through his form issues and stuff like that, and he's got this year. But this weekend, there's absolutely no qualms for me if he throws Tsimikas in. It'd be a good enough level. And we're ticking so well at the minute, whereas you don't really want to make 5-6 changes. As I said, we've got a massive points gap, but the idea is to go and put more on the board and really pile the pressure on Arsenal and say, look, we're still winning these games while being in the competition that you want to win now, the Champions League as well. And we're making changes, and you're playing your players into oblivion essentially, which is what Arteta's done for years. Yeah. And that's probably why, going back to the injury chat, some of the injuries happen. We've seen it, haven't we, where we played people into oblivion in years gone by, and injuries just happen to them because it happens. And then you've got Mo Salah, who's absolutely and he needs scientific studies need to be doing what team made of. He seems to play
adamantium.
Yeah, he definitely plays more than he probably should, but he's just boss. So he has his quiet game on Wednesday, and I bet you any money he's on the score sheet with a goal and assist again at the weekend.
Nailed on.
So as much as we will see changes, we will still see the same excellence from the players that remain on.